Welcome you to the regular business meeting for the Verona Borough Council. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Kenna.
President Ricky Bell.
Here.
Mr. Conti is at work today. He got called out to work. Dr. Carpenter.
Present.
Mrs. Lualbo.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy is out of the country. Mrs. Provenza.
Here.
Mr. Suchovich.
Here.
Mayor Recupero.
Here.
Mr. Pitch.
Present.
Mr. Alexander.
Present.
Council will now hear comments, registered comments.
Excuse me, before we get started, could you say a few things?
Sure.
Since today is September 11th, 17 years ago,
I know.
as we all know, we were attacked and they broke down the World Trade Centers. And on that day, 17 years ago, we had a council meeting that same night. And when we walked in here, we had a lot of people, about the same amount of people, and you couldn't hear a pin drop. And Mr. Fatulis, he was president at the time, and he said that him and his daughter was at home, and she started screaming, and he jumped up, and he thought the house was on fire. He came in, and she showed him what was happening. And that's the first time I actually seen Tony really shaken up. I think we all were that day. And that meeting lasted 15 minutes because everybody agreed, you know, nobody was in the mood for a meeting that night. So in honor of all the victims, I'd like to have a moment of silence. Thank you.
Council will now hear registered comments from the Lower Valley Athletic Foundation.
We just want to give you guys the donations we raised for the Blue Force Foundation, the Verona Volunteer Fire Department, and the Lower Valley Ambulance Service. I'm sure we can track that.
Thank you.
That's yours. That's a letter stating that what we made for you guys.
Thank you, sir.
This is yours. I guess I'll hold on to the EMS
Please,
until we see that.
the mayor.
This is for
That's for
Jamie.
the
Jamie, if he doesn't get here, then I'll take it.
Yeah.
We ended up raising $184 for the Blue Force Foundation, $61 for the Verona Volunteer Fire Department, and $72 for the Lower Valley Ambulance Service. We had a board meeting last week, and we all voted to increase all of those to the nearest 100. So the Blue Force Foundation got $200, the Fire Department got $100, and the Lower Valley Ambulance Service also got $100.
Nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you all attended, and we appreciate all the support that we got from all entities of the town, so.
Thanks for all
Hope
the
to do
hard
it again next
work.
year. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, council will now hear comments on agenda-related items from the public. Okay. All right, Mr. Kenna.
All right, everybody has financial reports for the month in front of them. Is that me currently? Good thing Dom's not here. We need a motion to pay the bills.
Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Lualbo. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
It's quiet.
Whoa.
The tax collector special taxes report, we received in the month of August $32,998.44 of current year real estate taxes, $2,246.04 in delinquent real estate taxes, $1,048.11 in real estate transfer taxes, $29,537.25 in earned income taxes for the current year, $8,082.52 in local service taxes for the current year.
Can I have a motion to accept the tax collector special taxes report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, I'm going to read the treasurer's report. We started the month of August with $680,069.47. We received in deposits for the general funds of $93,725.32, and we spent $222,211.62 for an ending balance of $551,583.17. Just as a little caveat to that, the last couple months have looked like we've spent an outrageous amount of money. We've been paying out big projects that we've received grants for in prior months, and doing the paving project and sewer lining projects and things like that. So it looks like we're spending money really quickly, but it's not really the case. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Police chief's report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is for the month of August. We had 135 complaints, 34 crimes reported, 23 cleared, 11 arrests or citations. Crime code summary issues were 4, vehicle code summary issues were 3, borough code summary issues were 22, and there were 99 borough parking tickets written. Magistrate's fines collected was $331.53. Borough's fines and fees collected was $495. And then police reports purchased was $15. In municipal fines, $33.91 for a total of fines and fees, $875.44. And then we collected $1,061 in parking permit fees. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, do you have, or Jerry, the handicap paperwork for up on 2nd Street, across from the ball field?
I'm not aware of it.
I don't,
Did you bring it down?
not that I've,
I'll look into it tomorrow.
yeah, I'll talk.
I don't remember his last name, his first name is Guy.
Oh, the guy,
You know who I'm talking about, him and his wife? I can't,
Guy Oliver.
is that his last name?
Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the police chief's report?
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Fire chief's report.
We had 10 fire calls for the month of August. Everything's going good. We're trying to look into, see if we can start, we're trying to get more manpower, and it just, everybody in the valley's hurt, everybody everywhere's hurting. We're possibly looking into a junior program. So that's in the works now. We're working with some other fire departments in the area that have the junior program, and see how that works out, if it pans out. So there's a lot to do with it, because you got to deal with like the child labor laws and everything like that, so. But that's what's going on up there.
Can I have a motion to accept the fire chief's report? I'll make a motion to accept the fire chief's report.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Jamie's not here for the EMS report?
Okay, and do we want to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Need a motion. Everybody has a copy of the minutes from last meeting. Need a motion to approve.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the August 14th meeting minutes for the regular business meeting of the Verona Borough Council?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, I will second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Couple things here, I could actually cross on. Matt and I had brought up the map about the feasibility on South and Center, putting storm drains all the way across the road, like they did up in Oakmont, because they were also getting a lot of runoff from their hills going down to 3rd Street down there and flooding that area. And I just wanted to bring that up, to see if, if that would be a good idea to help, in some of the flooding down here when we get these bad storms. And I know there's flooding throughout the whole entire town that we have to look at also. So, that's something you could look into, Matt. As far as the cost goes, is it feasible to do that? The other day when it was raining Sunday so hard, the water from the curb was out probably 5 to 6 foot, and it was literally bypassing the drain that was flat on the ground up against the curb.
Okay.
And I had pointed that out to Dom, because he was going to go watch the Steeler game when we were talking, and I told him to look at that, and, it's for him to see what I was talking about. And he has seen that, it just kind of just goes, but if there was a grate that goes straight across, at least that water has somewhere to go, and I'm sure it's going to go over top of it too. Yeah. But a lot of it's going to catch. It was raining so hard Sunday, which we all know, that I was going down Giant Eagle about 11 o'clock, and there was cars stopped right here by Belly Caves, past the stop sign, and there was 4 geese waddling across the road. I think they were going to the pavilion down there to get out of the weather. It was so wet. It was just funny. I mean, everybody stopped while they were just wobbling, get into the line, across the street.
They were at Freedom Diner on Saturday.
They were everywhere, yeah, yeah. Patsy's Market, I had brought up about 20-minute parking up there to pass an ordinance. We have a sign up there for him that the past council, not this council, had granted him 20-minute parking in front of the store. We never did put it into a ordinance, and a lot of the neighbors know that, and they park there knowing they can't get a ticket. So he had asked me to bring that up to see if we could pass an ordinance for 20-minute parking.
Can we maybe do that at our monthly meeting, Nancy?
Sure.
Okay, we'll put that on the agenda for the monthly meeting.
All right, so I gotta call him tomorrow. The tearing down of the houses, this was after I sent him in, Mark actually contacted me about some of the houses we were talking about. So he's on that, so I really want to bring that up. The accommodation awards, I'm going to hold off until the workshop on that to give to the street department. And when we bought the new police car, the board had, they wanted the 3 full-timers to use the car, and I argued the point on that, and then it was brought up about for the next 3 months that only the 3 full-timers would use it. It's been 7 months, and I was approached by a part-timer, and he had asked when are they going to be allowed to use the car, the new car.
And your response was?
Day one is they should have been. And they're the ones that told me that, I guess somebody in the office must have told him, 3 months, and that's why he brought it up to me. I mean, it's taxpayers' money. I mean, it's not a car for, it's a car for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, use it.
That's all I have.
Okay.
We went over some of the other things already.
Okay. Thank you. The Farmers Market Food Truck Roundup has been a huge success all summer. There are 2 more left. There's one September 27th and the October 25th one. We met yesterday and talked as a group. The one in September there's going to be 6 trucks total there. And we were talking about making, maybe getting more kid involvement and maybe having a football throw with them in September, and then in October, decorating pumpkins. Patty Thomas, who pretty much handles the farmer's market component of it, approached both Mr. Ken and myself about Rivertime Brewery coming in and having tasting samples and possibly selling six-packs. We talked with Mr. Alexander about this, and a motion's not needed, but council pretty much agrees that these Rivertime should come in and participate with the farmer's market. They already have a license. They've done it at other farmer's market, and we also have the Black Dog Winery place that sells that has samples and sells their wines. I also wanted to talk about the alleys in Verona. The 11 years that I've been on council here, there have been 3 alleys that have been a topic of discussion over and over and over again, and that's Diamond Way, and Mr. Pitch is going to address that. But there's also Peach Alley between the 600 block of 3rd and 4th, as well as the alley between Parker and North that I brought up, and I know Mrs. Provenza had brought up. I don't know what we can do about these alleys, but something needs to be done. 11 years is way too long. David, I know when I was running for council 11 years ago, you and Mr. Hendricks came on my porch and said, nothing moves fast, and I get it, okay, but 11 years to be dealing with these issues, you might as well consider them moon surfaces. The last time there were sinkholes in Peach Alley, my husband actually borrowed the cones from Verona Elementary on our way to church and put them there because that was the fastest way to do it. We were already out of the house, didn't have access to call down here and get something up there. Cars can get damaged. The holes range anywhere from 12 inches to 15 inches. We've gone through, I just made some notes here, in the 11 years, that these topics, these streets have been brought to council's attention, the public's attention, put on video. There's been 6 to 7 different council people here. We've had 2 different engineers on this case. We've had 2 different borough managers on this, and now some of the people that have complained about this alley, they are deceased now. And nothing is done about, well, Diamond Way is going to be attended to after 11 years. But these other 2 alleys, I mean, I don't know how we can justify this to the taxpayers. Somebody's going to get hurt in Peach Alley, I know for sure, because the kids ride their bikes, they don't wear helmets, they go like crazy, and they hit that hole and their tire goes in it, they're going to go flying. And I don't know where they're going to fly to that it isn't concrete. So I'm just bringing this to council's attention, again, for something to be done about these 2 alleys in particular. We're attending to Diamond Way, Peach Alley, and I'm not sure the alley, maybe Sylvia, you know the name of the alley between North and Parker. Something can be done about these, other than just patching them, because the patching doesn't last. The hole comes again. Bless you.
Well, I mean, every year the engineer asks for a list. I mean,
And we've brought it up.
but it's up to the board to, pinpoint which one. You was on the board too. I mean, we should have, went for that, those alleys. And I know the one between North and South, that was brought up, I believe, last year, and somebody said, we'll get the street department to do that, being it's such a small alley. Because we had the equipment right there, if you remember, Matt, over on Spruce Street. It was right there.
Yeah,
For some reason, we diverted them. I mean, they could have just went not even a half a block, to do that alley.
last year our hand was kind of forced with that water break and paving Spruce, which we were able to team with the water company and split the cost of that.
Right.
They are on the list of things to attend, to get to. We were hoping that some of the smaller, the Peach Alley, that's probably a full paving project. The one between Parker and North, we were hoping with the new COG equipment that we'd be able to handle some of them in-house. So they're not forgotten about. And I know it's not that anyone wants to hear, but when you have more a main road getting paved, the alleys sometimes do get forgotten about. But they are on the radar, and when Jerry and I talk about paving budgets, that's something that we can definitely look at for next year.
Because with the rain that we're getting, I mean, I sent everybody pictures. I mean, I went out there like a nut and stood under an umbrella and videotaped the river coming down Peach Alley, literally taking pieces of the alley with it, right down to Church Street, and I don't know where it went to from there. Mark Stanton had sent us an email authorizing civil suits for the property on Center and the property on the corner of 4th and South. I didn't know if we wanted to get, authorization from council, make a motion to authorize him to file for these civil suits.
Yeah, let me get the addresses here.
Okay.
Let's bring that up. Why don't we defer that to our code and ordinance meeting too, to see what all needs to be done.
Okay. So, our meeting in September here?
Yes.
Okay, so defer to the meeting. So don't-
Whatever the
don't
committee
make it-
thinks.
Do you need council approval?
Should
Are we gonna wait till after the meeting, or?
Should we at least make a motion to
Yeah.
authorize? Okay, so I'm making a motion.
Let the committee, authorize the committee to direct Mark.
Okay. I'm making a motion to authorize the code enforcement committee to discuss this with Mr. Stanton regarding the civil suits that he has requested on the Center Avenue property and the corner of 4th and South.
Is the Center Avenue property, is that Second and Center?
520.
520.
Is that Second and Center?
No.
No.
That's Ross Place.
Roth, the Roth property.
Okay.
520, right.
Okay, a motion on the floor. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, Mr. Pitch.
Thank you. So the design for the Arley, the signal at Wildwood Avenue, it's underway. The first submission was submitted to PennDOT. We did find out because of the streetscape, instead of putting 4 poles like the other signals are, they're going to go with a mast arm. So there'll be two poles with the arms that extend over the roadway. They'll be black and decorative, and by doing that, it's not confirmed yet, but we believe there'll be enough cost savings that we'll be able to paint the other poles at the other intersections to match. So that'll be a nice little bonus. The CDBG year 44, the bids were opened. The low bidder for the sanitary lining in Diamond Way is IPR Northeast. The contract amount would be for $79,214. Of that, we are responsible for 35%. I'll keep that for you. So our share would be $27,725. I would need a motion to award the contract.
Can I have a motion to award the contract to IPR Northeast, who is the low bidder, in the amount of $79,214, with Verona at a 35% responsibility of $27,725.
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And to kind of go along with that, there's a dig repair that needs to be done before the lining. We've already awarded all the contracts for that. They were set back. The contractor had some family issues, but he is back to work. He is anticipating start to be next Monday, the 17th. So that would be kind of behind the post office. I've talked to the post office already. The alley will be blocked just due to its narrowness, but they'll have access, and the one direction will kind of be not enforced during the construction just due to it being blocked for the construction. And then this week, the CDBG for next year, the pre-applications were submitted to the COG. For next year, it's our guaranteed year, so you have to have a qualifying project. So you put several in just in case the county denies one. So our first one that we would be trying to use the guaranteed money for is the road reconstruction of Center Avenue. The first couple concrete slabs are in pretty poor shape. Some of the subbase is even eroded to where some of the slabs are moving. So we're hoping we can use that. It would take out the first 12 slabs and just replace it with asphalt to match ARB. Working on those concrete roadways is fairly expensive, so I know it's not the whole road, but it gives us a good start at least. If that one falls through, they always do award park improvements. So I pulled out some information from the Greenway Trails grant application we put in. So we would be taking out the old bituminous walkway at Cribs Field, putting in a new concrete walkway, and putting in several new benches. That's the fallback one in case they deny the street. And the other ones we put in is sanitary lining for the Parker Street, High Street, and Union Street area. That's just going in under sewer and water. It's about an $80,000 project. If we were awarded it, it would be the 65-35 split again. And then the demos of the 4th Street properties, 866 and 870. Unfortunately, with the demos, you're not allowed to use your guaranteed money towards those, so that would just be a grant we would receive. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Alexander?
Thank you, Madam President. Just wanted to announce that we did have an executive session immediately preceding tonight's council meeting to discuss various pending legal issues. We already discussed the Rivertown permit. One of the requirements that we discussed was them having their permit, their license permit on file, as well as their insurance certificate here at the Borough Building, if they're going to do that. We still have pending the petition to vacate a portion of James Street, and hopefully we'll have something to consider on that at next month's meeting. I've been working with Jerry on a tax issue that one of our residents has raised, and I'm going to go back to her and her counsel on that issue by letter. Mayor raised the issue of the Police Oversight Board that the county is considering, and given us his opinion, declining the invitation to take part in that. I got Mark Stanton civil suits. We've addressed that. I wanted to remind the public that at last month's meeting, we had demolition hearings. Those were commenced and then immediately recessed due to procedure issue. Those have been rescheduled for 6:45 immediately preceding the October 9, 2018 regularly scheduled business meeting. So the second Tuesday in October, 6:45, those demolition hearings will take place, and Mr. Stanton will be here with regard to that. We have a bunch of ordinances that Dr. Carpenter will address in her report. I just wanted to address the stormwater ordinance. It does need to be voted on, I think, either next month's meeting or the meeting after that at some point. Just waiting on Gordon Taylor raised an issue with regard to the standard stormwater ordinance as it's been approved by DEP, and maybe including some language in there that made clear that you're not going to sweep property owner disputes between two property owners into the stormwater management ordinance and make them go through all the stuff that's required by the county. So I'm just waiting to hear back from Gordon on that in the various communities I represent. But other than that, it's ready to go and ready to be enacted. And we will have it advertised for either next month's meeting or the meeting after that, whenever council decides to do that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Conti's not here. Dr. Carpenter?
Okay, so as Mr. Alexander just mentioned, the vacant property ordinance, the stormwater ordinance, and the drone ordinance, I believe, have already been approved for advertisement, but we're waiting until we are done with the brew pub ordinance before we advertise them. Does that sound right to you?
Correct.
The brew pub ordinance is still under review and being revised by the ordinance committee and Mr. Alexander and myself as well. So that is ongoing, as is consideration of a fireworks ordinance, which, will you explain about the state thing with that?
Sure, and fireworks ordinance may be a bit of a misnomer. The state legislature has passed a law now that permits residents to purchase and light off certain fireworks. And what's happening in Pennsylvania up until now has been precluded from lighting off fireworks, but now they are allowed to. And in the law, the legislator put certain regulations, like you can't do it 150 feet from any occupied residential structure. Well, everybody's violating that. They're lighting them off wherever they want to light them off. They're lighting them off at all times of day and night. People's dogs are, going crazy. Babies are going crazy. And so communities and their residents are upset, and they should be. But the question is, what level of regulation can a local municipality do now that the state has passed the law permitting these fireworks and put their own regulations in place? And my opinion is, right now, because this law is so new, is I don't believe that there's much that local municipalities can do to usurp the state's laws. But I think certainly you have the opportunity to regulate the times which these things are allowed to be put off. If you regulate it to, an hour or two after dusk, because that's when most fireworks are commonly put off in fireworks displays. But I hear from other communities, people say, well, can we limit it to only the 4th of July? I don't think you can limit it to only the 4th of July. That's why they passed a law allowing fireworks companies to open stores, to allow you to go in and purchase them any day you want, and actually to light them off. So we're continuing to research what it is that a local municipality can do to regulate fireworks, given that the state now allows them to be purchased and ignited by consumers in a day-to-day basis. So once we figure that out, we'll bring some sort of regulation back. I think your best shot of not getting challenged is to regulate the times in which they can be set off right now, until we figure out where this law is going. When the courts get involved, people start challenging what people try to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And I think you were going to, for the next meeting, maybe have a copy of the state law, Pennsylvania state law for fireworks, so we can see what we've got.
I appreciate you reminding me about that.
Thanks. The other thing I have on my, on the agenda here, I just put zoning ordinance update grant ? Because I'm aware that our zoning ordinances are quite old. Not 100% sure what it would take to update that or where we could get a grant, but I just wanted to put that out there for people to think about that and contact me with any suggestions, including the public.
Great.
If you have any ideas.
When we had our meeting, and I'm not sure, I didn't bring that paper with me, the brew pub ordinances, you were going to look into the three that Mr. Forbeck had suggested, and get copies sent to us as
Okay.
well?
Okay.
That's Shaler,
Mount Lebanon.
Mount Lebanon,
And Sharpsburg.
and Sharpsburg. I'll do that the next day.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Millville.
That's what I said. I said Shaler. It's Millville.
Yeah, Millville, Sharpsburg, and Mount Lebanon.
Thank you.
Okay, I got a note for that.
And I'd like to ask for an exec,
On?
personnel. And we don't have to come back. That's it for me.
Thank you.
And I have a personnel issue to raise at the exec session now in my report, now that Nancy mentioned that.
Okay. Mr. Suchovich?
Been in discussions with Mr. Kenna on the budget. We're working on trying to get that squared away, so we're ready to go for the end of the year when we have to pass that.
Thank you. Mrs. LaLalba?
First, I'd like to mention that we had a vacancy this past spring on the Parks and Rec Board. It had been advertised for anybody who would be interested in being on the board. At our last meeting, which was last Tuesday, September 4th, it was recommended that Dr. Nancy Carpenter be recommended to be on the rec board, so I would like to make a nomination to accept Dr. Nancy Carpenter as a board member to fulfill the remainder of this year, and there'll be 2 years after to finish the term. So I'd like to
Do we need a motion on that?
She made the motion.
I'll second that. Okay, motion by Mrs. LaLalba and second by Mrs. Provenza to accept Dr. Carpenter to the vacancy position on the Parks and Rec Board for the remainder of this year and the next 2 years. So that's to 2020? Okay.
And just so everybody in the public and up here sitting is aware, Dr. Carpenter is permitted to vote for herself for that position. If it's not a paid position, it's a voluntary position, so there's no pecuniary gain. And the case law is very clear that if she chooses to do so, she's allowed to vote for herself.
And it's not a conflict of interest?
And it's not a conflict of interest.
Okay. So motion on the floor made by Mrs. LaLalba and seconded by Mrs. Provenza. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I have a letter from the Lower Valley Athletic Foundation, Dear Verona Council, and Verona Parks and Recreation Board. This letter is confirmed as of 8/25, August 25th, 2018, there is $1,900.00 reserved and available for use towards the Verona Parks and Recreation. This amount will remain available until the Verona Parks and Recreation Board and/or Verona Borough Council decides the most beneficial use of these funds. These funds are only to be used for Verona Parks upgrades, Verona Park activities, or Verona Park fundraisers. The amount can be spent all at once or in any set amount needed until the balance of this amount reaches zero. This amount or any remaining balance from this original amount will also be available at any time deemed necessary by Verona Council. Sincerely, Lower Valley Athletic Foundation.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
And a good portion of this was raised at the KSWA.
That's all of it.
All of it?
Yeah, you still have, there's more in
Okay.
the account earmarked for that's what we raised for the investment.
There was about 200 tickets sold, about 300 people, so unfortunately, I was not able to attend the event, but it sounds like it was really a successful event, and all that had attended had fun.
It was fun.
Including the mayor up here.
I had questions on that, and we discussed that. I discussed it with the board, but it was pretty neat. And we were just questions, there were concerns, basically.
I know.
But it was.
There was a lot less last minute things to work on to get this thing going, including the lights at Cribs that did come on. So there was plenty of lighting and all went well. One more thing, I was just seeing, we had our meeting last week with the Parks and Rec. Just a lot of going over things. Our next meeting is October 2nd at 7 PM, and that is an open meeting. And when I had been on a peer group for a DCNR grant for a Parks Director, that the IGA between Oakmont, Verona, and the school district. It had been in the hands of the solicitor for some time, and nothing has come forward. Tom Bland, who's on the rec board in Oakmont, has brought it up again and was just wondering if there's still an interest in having a Parks Director between both Oakmont Borough and Verona Borough and the school district.
All three.
All three. There might be a thing where maybe the school district might not be involved, but we need to discuss this further to see if we can get this moving forward. We will be meeting again soon, but we're trying to get a feeling to see if this is still something we want to pursue. And we can discuss this further. The workshop need to be, I'm just putting it out there too. We meet with Tom and see what we need to do to help make this go forward. There's a proposal for each council maybe to include in the budget, we can talk about this too, Ray, of $2,000 for benefits. We go forward with this Parks Director, which would go towards benefits, but there would be a grant that would pay the salary that the boroughs would have to pay for the benefits for this person, like health and things like that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mrs. Provenza?
Yes, thank you. Newsletter, I'm stretching it. The 13th would be the last day. If anybody has any articles, and if you do, you can just give them right here to Kathy Ferguson. She handles our articles. And if you have any ads you'd like to put in, we'd be more than glad to take them, and you can see me for that. And we're just about ready to go to print, so if you can do it as like ASAP, that would be great. Website, I've had questions on that. Do we have an update on the website?
Yeah, actually we do. As of today, and I haven't reviewed it today, but I've been working with the owner, like I talked about last month, and he redid everything from scratch.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot different, it's a lot nicer. I still have to review it, and then the goal is, and I think I'd like to get your input and Sandy, is to set up a meeting for like next week to go through it and then determine, like talk about other functionality that we can add to it, content that wants to change and things like that to get it final and uploaded and done.
Great.
But it's a lot better than it was.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you one question about that, Jerry? One of the things that I found difficult with the old new website was that I couldn't get it on my phone or my tablet.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. Someone explained to me it had something to do with the links were broken. And
Yeah.
I just am hoping...
That's all fixed.
That's all fixed?
It's all fixed.
But it's not, I can't go on right now and find it?
No, not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. We're gonna finalize it next week and go through, and before it even goes live at all, and we wanna make sure it's done and it has all the functionality we want.
Okay,
That's great.
thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yep.
And the other thing I have, I've had people ask me why we don't have Verizon here for TV. I called Verizon. I thought, well, maybe they'll tell me something. And they said, you've got to talk to your borough manager.
So.
And dumped it on
It's not
you.
true. It's not.
Let me address that issue. Because- And I think that I've addressed it
Many times.
4 or 5 times at least. And the Verizon salespeople blame the local officials for not bringing Verizon into local communities. And it's just absolutely not true. Verizon has ceased expanding its FiOS program. They're not going to be coming into Verona Borough. There are some communities that they're almost fully built out in, and Verona might even have been one of those. I think we brought a couple Verizon officials here 3 or 4 years ago, and they were going to reinstitute their program of bringing FiOS into communities. And as soon as they said that, no sooner did they say that than they stopped it again. And I've gone back to one of the executive vice presidents who I know, And I've said to him, your salespeople continue to tell residents when they call and complain, how come we can't get FiOS, that it's the borough officials' fault for not getting it brought in. It can't be brought in. They don't offer it. There's nothing that anybody up here can do to get Verizon to open up FiOS to Verona Borough. If they did, Verona would jump on it. If they did, every community that I represent would jump on it. If they did, I would be a Verizon subscriber where I live, because I've got Armstrong cable, and it's horrible. I'm sorry, you just can't get it.
Yeah, actually, Oakmont had the same problem. They actually had to send a cease and desist order to Verizon to stop saying that.
Yeah, they said, see you, Jerry. They
Yeah.
actually said, see your manager.
Yeah, I
Do we
told
need to
them many times, and I
authorize
brought it
you to
up to
send us
Craig
cease and
also,
desist
and as soon as you tell them who you are, then they kind of, be quiet down. But I believe there is cable in the towns from Verizon.
I think that you were one of the few that were partially built out. That's why when they came in, they were going to think about doing it.
My point, what I'm getting at is, can we charge them for that?
No, they would pay a franchise fee.
Only the franchise, when they turn the system on,
Right.
Like Comcast does.
Yeah.
So I can make a motion? To
send the letter?
To authorize
You want to-
Mr. Alexander to follow in Oakmont's footsteps and send a cease and desist letter to Verizon in support of, it's not our fault. And quit using us as an excuse. Because it's been brought up 4 times that I can remember.
At least.
Yeah.
Okay, motion on the floor.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Bell, second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Provenza.
You're welcome.
Anything on the League of Municipalities?
No, not
Are we ever going to finish the class, Dr. Carpenter?
Last time I looked at the website, it still said it was down.
Okay, and contact?
I meant to do that today and ran out of time. I will try to contact them and send out an email.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Suchovich, anything on TCC?
Nothing.
And the Council of Governments did not meet in August. We will be meeting in September, so I will probably have something for a workshop, maybe. Council will now hear comments from the public on public-related items.
Hi, it's Jessica from Bruno Street. And I just wanted to offer, if you need any help with looking at the new website, I know, last time I kind of tried to provide some comments, and I don't know if those were helpful in taking a look at it and redoing it. But once again, I'd be happy to offer to put some eyes on it, if that would be helpful.
Were you part of the paperwork that Mr. Forbeck sent in with all
Yes.
those changes?
Yep.
All of those changes were all part of this, so.
Great.
Everything that
That's
you
good
have
to hear.
before is all
Yeah,
part of that.
yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, and the other thing I might just mention is that I know that the website, and I don't know if this was addressed, is not accessible in certain, like, I can't access it through my work computer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, there's.
Security and stuff? Is it like a filter?
It's like I think it's because the website isn't like registered or something and categorized. I know I've heard the same from people that work for UPMC and other like bigger companies and things like that, so.
We'll check. We changed the platform. Everything's different, so we'll check and see.
Okay, well,
Go test
just
it.
let me know if you need any assistance. I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vince Flota, 323 Penn Street. I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, to follow Lower Valley Athletic Foundation on YouTube. Tim's editing the video from the wrestling event. It's almost done. It will probably be on YouTube in 2 days.
Speak up, please.
Sorry, the microphone's low. Follow Lower Valley Athletic Foundation on YouTube because the wrestling video will be up before the end of the week. So, and it has credits to everybody that helped and credit to the Verona fire department, Verona Police Department, and everything, so.
I got a call from somebody from Gibsonia that ended up at the event, and he called me and said that it was the best wrestling event he's ever been to, and he had a blast.
That's great. So,
I thought it was a lot of fun.
good, tell them to follow us on YouTube.
Get out of my town. Get out of my town.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Is that it?
Susie Davis, Ridge Avenue. In July, when we had that storm, that tree that came down and blocked the street, it is still hanging. Half of it is hanging. It's dead. I don't know who owns the property, but it's ready to come down. It's a wonder it didn't come down yet. It's coming down in pieces on my car again.
That's on Ridge?
Yes.
Mark talked to me about that. We're gonna have BJ's Tree Service come up and cut it all down.
Okay, because like I said, I don't know who owns the property, but it's more of a hazard because it's going to pull wires down. That, and also, when is the clock going to be fixed at the pavilion down here?
I just found out about it today that it needed fixed.
Yeah, it hasn't been working for at least 2 months.
I was just told today, so we'll take a
Because
look
I notice
at
when
it.
I walk.
Maybe needs batteries.
Maybe you can go over and change them.
Electric.
Hello. Dave Matlin, 722 Bruno. I just wanted to follow up on something I don't know if it was last meeting or the meeting before. Agendas and minutes, if there was talk of getting those in advance.
So they'll be on the website?
Yeah.
Once the website's up?
Okay.
And this month, the agenda was sent out to council, but it'll be on the website as soon as it's live. So next meeting, it will be online.
And then minutes, I don't remember.
The minutes will we'll have those
The
on there
minutes
too.
that
They need to be approved first.
Approved first.
Yeah.
Once they're approved, they'll
But I mean, there was like was that big lot of minutes, was that approved? I can't remember.
we still have to approve that. We'll approve that at
The
the
first
workshop
6
and go
months.
through everything.
Yeah, and there were a couple meetings that were missing.
Right, we'll go through all that.
Well, excuse me, in the past, we've had the minutes, and I think you and Rhoda was one of the ones that wanted them on the table here.
To hand them out?
For the public to hand out.
Oh, extra copies.
Yeah, the copy, so that.
Well, we're gonna have
Well,
it
not
on the
official
website.
until they're actually approved, though.
Yeah, once they're approved,
Right.
again.
So approved, you put them online.
But I think we did approve them pending the corrections. So I think that's what
Did
we
you do that?
did. Yeah, we made a motion to approve the minutes pending the corrections that were needed.
It's fine. Yeah,
Okay,
that's before
so,
me. I didn't know we did that. That's fine.
But to answer your question, yeah, I think the goal is to get the agendas on the website before the meetings, and then the minutes as soon as they're approved,
After they're approved.
so that you're able to look at the minutes immediately upon their approval.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, yes.
Yeah, Don Moore.
Can you come to the podium, please?
It's a little hard to get around this. I don't know better. Or to speak for you. Yeah, go ahead. Real quick question. Don Moore, 636 3rd Street. Just want to know when council's going to resume workshop meetings.
September.
This month.
Is that
Yeah.
you're going to do it this
We
month?
only approved June, July, and August.
Okay, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear you say that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion for adjournment
Into executive session.
into exec session, and we don't have to return? Oh, did you want to say something?
No, I'm like, yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich, I will second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Hey,
Nice job.
5 days.